Blake Lively is forced to drop her subpoena from Perez Hilton. We got him here to celebrate. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and I'm so grateful to have Perez Hilton back on the show. Welcome to the show, Perez, and congratulations!
Thank you. Thank you. I feel very relieved.
My applause music. There it is. Your applause. Woo! How's it feeling? Looks like it's over. What are you thinking?
It's done. I got the email from the court. There was a possibility where even though she withdrew the subpoena, the judge might not have signed off on it, but he did, thankfully. This judge didn't want to deal with this because he knows how contentious it is over in New York, and it even spilled over here to Nevada and Florida where you're dealing with it as well. And because I am Perez, you don't have to say anything. Just stay mute, like that Beyonce mute challenge. But I clearly am watching what's going on with everything else. And typically, now I'm aware, with legal things, a side submits something, and then the other side usually, although sometimes it can be shorter, has 2 weeks to respond. It's been more than 2 weeks since the last development in your subpoena drama. So that means things are happening behind the scenes. And I'm sure your lawyer has said, don't speak about this, because that's also what I was told by the ACLU this past week. So I stopped talking about my subpoena drama and was just talking about what was going on with Baldoni and Lively. But I hope that whatever is going on behind the scenes, and actually, I'll tell your audience a little bit of what might be going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, no comment, but keep going. Go ahead and say what you want to say.
Yeah, because there's probably a lot of parallels. So, I think I might have told you because you showed up for both of my hearings. At the second hearing, Blake's lawyer, it's just also crazy because what they were doing with me, they probably have done with you, which is meet and confer and try to resolve this without going to court. But they didn't want to do that with me. That's literally the first email that I sent, and it was submitted to the court. I have the receipts. I said, I want to make sure that I do everything that I'm supposed to do, and it is my understanding that we're supposed to meet and confer. I would like to set up a time to meet and confer with you. They didn't want to do that. So the second hearing, her lawyer was trying to change the terms of the subpoena during the hearing, basically using a subpoena as a meet and confer. And the judge did not like that. But what happened was it reaffirms everything that I submitted to the court myself with the help of ChatGPT, that the subpoena that was served upon me and you was so overly, unnecessarily, disgustingly, painfully broad. They were asking for everything, even though they don't really need it or want that. So what ended up happening last week before the ACLU of Nevada came on board, and I'll get to that, is they sent me a new list of search terms, which like 5%. They whittled down their subpoena to just 5% of what they were initially asking for.
Which they should have done from the start, which they haven't done with anybody.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I'm like, maybe that's what you should have started off with, that 5% that you actually only needed and not 95% plus that. But also, so two things that are very important. They're trying to spin it like, oh, we're dropping this subpoena because we got everything that we needed from the Wayfarer parties. Well, as I told the court repeatedly, that's what should have happened all along. they should not have subpoenaed me according to Rule 45, according to the law, until they exhausted, that word is there in the law, exhausted all other means. They had not exhausted all other means. That's one of the many reasons why I was fighting the subpoena. I said to the judge and the court more than once, all of these things that are being asked of me, she can get from parties directly of in this litigation, and she's not exhausted those means yet. However, and you're a testament to this, I know with every fiber of my being, had the ACLU of Nevada not agreed to represent me, had they not called her on Thursday, the very first thing Friday morning, they would not have withdrawn that subpoena. They would have kept pursuing this. It's only because of optics. They did not want to be fighting the ACLU of Nevada, and I am forever grateful to them for taking this on and understanding the First Amendment implications and what's at stake and the importance of this. So it's unfortunate that the same result has not happened with you yet, but I know I'm not kidding myself. I would still be in the same boat as you if it were not for the ACLU of Nevada. In fact, and I can say this because this was not like in right, we did not agree to this. They literally raced to the court because my lawyer at the ACLU calls them and said, hey, tomorrow we're going to be filing a notice of appearance, and we want to let you know that we're officially representing Mr. Hilton. They said, please don't file a notice of appearance. We're going to withdraw the subpoena. It's just because the ACLU of Nevada came on board.
Well, I have a lot. Yes, there's a lot I could say. We'll talk again regarding my case, but I 1,000%, 100,000,000% believe you that the ACLU's involvement was a huge turning point for her. Now, she may have still eventually dropped it, to be fair. There was costs. There was things that she was up against, to be fair.
Oh, I mean,
but the ACLU definitely fast-tracked it for you. That was a brilliant move.
No, I disagree because I truly believe that a big part of it was retaliation. She would have kept it going just to pay back for all the nicknames and for me being very critical of her. Even if she got it all from the Wayfarer parties, she could have argued, did not have to let this court know. And also because she was asking for so much more, she's like, well, I'm still want to make sure that I get all of these other things. And I also want to make sure, some of the other things that I'm asking for, only he is in possession of and not anyone else, like, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, no, I trust me. They're definitely harassing us, and I believe they wanted that retaliation. And you're probably right. Yes, they would. They were enjoying, I think, just doing it. But I do think the 80,000 piece of document, which is kind of brilliant on Justin's side too, they are drowning right now, and they're on timelines, and there's things coming in. I do think they're going to start picking their battles. At least I hope. You'd think they'd have to at a certain point, but I guess maybe not. You're right. History has shown they didn't. But this ACLU move, absolutely brilliant. You got that from a local attorney in Nevada. I saw from your video, which you guys can go obviously support him over on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Perez Hilton. But brilliant move. It's weird because I always didn't like the ACLU due to the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case where they were out there defending her then. But you realize, no, they got to defend the reporters. She wasn't. It was her opinion piece. And that was sort of it made the ACLU look pretty bad in my view back then. But to see them step up here to take you on and actually not be afraid to do that and go against Blake and Ryan, they've earned some points back without a doubt, because that's what they're supposed to do, is protect the rights, right? So good on them. Were you surprised? Were you worried they weren't going to take you on?
Well, it never even occurred to me. Like, listen, I'm all about being honest and keeping it real. I wouldn't say that I thought this process was going to be easy. I never thought it was going to be easy, but I thought I could do it. I thought I could manage it and do it on my own until that second hearing, when things started to get to a place where I'm like, what was being asked of me by this judge here did not sit right with me specifically, and what the judge was ruling specifically. Blake Lively repeatedly, even as recently as this week, as recently as this past week, Blake Lively argued that California law should be applied in the New York federal trial in federal court. California law. Just this last week when she was seeking those, once again, attorney fees, she was doing that citing California law. So the judge in Las Vegas said, we're not going to apply Nevada law in Nevada. And I said, Your Honor, that makes no sense. Blake Lively has argued California law in New York, and the judge there previously applied California law in New York. So when he did not even give me a reason for that, that's why I filed a motion to try to get it in writing so I could understand it, because I asked and he would not explain it to me. And then when he also told me that he needed and was demanding to see the names of my sources in a privilege log, like I literally said, Your Honor, with all due respect, I'm willing to give you all the communications, just redacted. The communications themselves are not what's important to me. It's protecting my sources.
Right.
Wouldn't it be easier for you in camera to look at what is being said and then say, oh, okay, that is privileged or not, because you're a journalist and you're talking about this thing and you're gathering information. So that's clear. It's not like you're just like gossiping about what she was wearing,
That was my question. So did you ever have to give up the source in the privilege log? Did that,
No.
or that's because that was where I was getting worried. So that's when you did finally speak to other experts to why
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
The judge said in my second hearing, and we went over this, I told him, I was like, Your Honor, this unduly burdensome, overly broad, duplicative subpoena, because she's asking directly of the Wayfarer parties all of these things. If I was to compile this, it could take weeks or longer than a month. And that's when he said, oh, no, don't worry. If she wants all of this, I'll have her pay for a forensic expert to extract all of the data and the search terms, and I'll have her pay for a paralegal to help you put it together. So I was leading the hearing, and that's when this wonderful lawyer who works with children pro bono, this woman, Dawn Toman, came up to me. She's a lawyer, and she went to the hearing because she's curious and she wanted to support. She's like, if you need any names of data forensic experts, email me and I'll put you in touch. And I was like, yeah, I don't know where to start. I was representing myself. So I emailed her. She sent me some names of data forensic experts. And then the next day, I went on the local media here and I also made a video saying, I need help. It's gotten to the point where I need help. And then without me even asking this wonderful woman, Dawn Toman, she took it upon herself to reach out to the ACLU of Nevada on my behalf. And then they were initially curious. They didn't say anything. And Dawn said, do you want to talk to them? I'm like, absolutely. So this Monday, I had my first meeting. This past Monday, a week ago, I had my first meeting with the ACLU of Nevada. Tuesday, they sent me over Tuesday they drafted they were working on the retainer. Wednesday they sent me the retainer. Thursday we had a meeting to go over the retainer and to talk about the privilege log. After I signed my retainer on Thursday, they immediately called Blake Lively, and then the next day she withdrew the subpoena.
Yeah, that's not an accident.
It's crazy.
That's not an accident. And you're right.
Like,
to have to see Blake and Ryan have to fight the ACLU would have been such bad optics. So now, but what I have to say is thank you, because that was a brilliant move and kudos to Dawn. I'll have to thank her as well, because I don't know why we all didn't think of that earlier, because that was a brilliant way to spin it back, because they're the civil, like they're all supporting all the types of people Blake and Ryan would never want to be up against, and minorities, etc. And so for them to be able to say, yeah, this is wrong, it has to immediately. But you're just for clarity, it is true. She tried to make it sound like, well, there's just so many documents now, we don't need it. You never needed it, girl. You never needed it. Absolute horseshit. When Lyman, especially when Lyman said, well, Wayfair must provide the things. It was over when I saw that happen, and I told you that I thought the whole thing's over. Perez is going to win.
Yeah,
I'm going to win.
That's why I thought that I sent that to the court. The court in Nevada was aware of it. That's why I thought that the court here would either just immediately grant my motion to quash or she would withdraw it. But that didn't happen. That's why
It's
I
wild.
know she would have kept pursuing it against me like she is with you for retaliation.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will say we're in Florida. Like, there's not anything else to say at this point because we're waiting for a Florida judge to respond, and Florida takes its time. Florida takes its time. But yes, once we have updates, I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you for I'm congratulations. I'm so excited. I wanted the fans to hear the story. While I still have you here, just quickly, like overall about the case, because this was a win, and I think it was the ACLU helped tremendously. But I don't know. I'm starting to get nervous, Perez. I'm starting to feel like Blake's lawyers, while they're losing the PR battle, I worry legally they're making some better moves of recent. And I worry Wayfair's messed up a couple things. I want to get your thoughts or help me get them back on the side because this Taylor Swift thing really kind of bugged me, man. How do you, they keep saying one thing, like we got what we wanted, and then Taylor comes out and is like, I only heard about this 3 days ago. They've never asked for anything except for 3 days ago, which is too late. And I understand why people can be mad at Lyman all he wants. His arguments sound, if this is true, you had 6 months. Like, what on earth have you been waiting for? And I think there have been a few of those instances where they've just waited to the last minute and it's ended up having egg on their face where he's like, guys, you're not allowed to have another extension. I told you the date and you had months prior. Look, I'm still team Justin based on the evidence I've seen, but have you been getting nervous at all? Did you think that was a bad look by them? I was just curious while I have you. What are your thoughts on all this?
To answer those two questions, am I nervous? And do I think it's a bad look? No and no. Here's why. They knew this was going to happen. They didn't really care about deposing Taylor Swift. It was like Blake's lawyers have said repeatedly. It was just, as they've been doing themselves too, as both sides have, it was just using the docket for press. It was just pushing buttons, I think, because they didn't even issue a new subpoena, which they would have had to depose her. So clearly, this was just theatrics. It was just for show. Why they felt the need to, why the theatrics of it all, we don't know. I don't have the answer to that. But I truly believe it's a team of lawyers. They're all not that dumb. It was a calculated move. This was done on purpose, I believe. We don't know why they're doing what they're doing in this chess game, but there's that. That's my thinking on it. And then the other thing is, after I really got in my Elle Woods era and started studying and representing myself and showing up in court and like literally studying, like I was back in high school and college, I now know or am reaffirmed of what I believed but wasn't sure of and now definitely believe, which is I truly think both sides are going to settle sometime at the beginning of March, just before the trial starts, because too much is at stake for both sides. It is not a guaranteed home run for either side. For example, the legal definition, the bar for sexual harassment is very high. So for her to get a win that Justin Baldoni sexually harassed her is going to be hard. And if she loses that, then I would also think,
well, she 100% loses retaliation because the workplace retaliation has to be because of the sexual harassment.
Yes. So I think it's gonna be settled out of court for both sides. That's the best thing. But they're doing it now. They're giving us a show. It's a show. They're putting it all out there and they're being heard. But I ultimately believe they'll settle. And I know a lot of people aren't happy with that possibility, but everybody needs to take a step back. you may not want to hear it, but Blake Lively is not Amber Heard, meaning Blake Lively is still married to Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is still an A-lister. Ryan Reynolds is still getting a ton of press, as we saw this past week when he went to the Toronto Film Festival with his John Candy documentary that he produced. Ryan Reynolds is most likely going to be in the next Avengers movie, which is going to be a huge hit, most likely. And Blake Lively herself is still getting deals and people that want to work with her, like this movie with Lionsgate that they announced a few weeks ago. So long as she stays married to Ryan Reynolds, she will be fine. Especially because the bar is so low. I always turn back to Mel Gibson. This man was caught on video saying
Let's not say,
racist.
yeah, don't be careful what you say on the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. Yeah. Saying racist, homophobic, xenophobic things. He pled guilty to domestic violence. He pled guilty to DV. And after all of that, he still is making movies and successful. So she will be fine. And on the flip side, in some perverse way, this all has truly made Justin Baldoni more famous than ever. So many people didn't even know who he was before this. I did, but I'm not the masses. The masses probably had no clue who he was. The masses didn't watch Jane the Virgin. I actually didn't even watch Jane the Virgin. I knew Justin Baldoni because he had this really cool show on YouTube. Sad, but I don't know why, but I'm like I morbidly consume
The
content
Last
about
Days show.
people
Yeah, it was,
dying.
yeah.
So I watched that show where he chronicled the last days of people, and it was really beautiful and well done. So you and I understand how taxing and what a toll this has taken on us, and it's even more so for him, especially because he's been dealing with this since 2023. But when he goes and is on the other side of it, when he comes through this, it will only have helped him, I believe.
I agree. He's going to do fine at the end. It's just, it takes time.
Yeah.
As someone who's been through it myself, you have as well, right? We've all been through some low points in our careers, and then you just got to keep fighting back. And he seems like a fighter. And I think he's absolutely well more known than he ever will. And I don't doubt anything you just said. Going back just to wrap up with the question, yeah, it's theatrics. My issue is, as someone who's really trying to get to the truth of it all, I don't like Justin's team putting on theatrics and not actually delivering what they promised, which is we got what we wanted at Taylor. It does feel like there was a lot of stuff that they've been sort of, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And I'll admit, I'll be disappointed if it doesn't come. I still think it's probably there, but maybe, this whole idea of we got it, we didn't get it, to me is disappointing.
Well,
that said, it's a complicated battle, and I hear you, and I think both sides have a lot at stake. I 100% agree. Go ahead.
Also, like, it's lawsuits are like sports, right? Like, you're not gonna get the home run if you don't take a big swing. If you take a baby swing, you might just get to first base. So I would have been a freaking great lawyer, let me tell you. Another thing with everything that just happened last week is that people aren't necessarily focused on, because of the distraction of everything, is not only did Blake Lively get 10 more days that she can do depositions, but so did Justin Baldoni. So Justin Baldoni can now go back to to Taylor Swift's lawyers, can send a new subpoena and say, listen, we got 10 more days. I know you said she's not available until the 20th. All we need is 30 minutes. We'll go to her. We won't take more than 30 minutes of her time. She can give us 30 minutes. We've got 10 more days to play with, okay? Squeeze us in somewhere for 30 minutes, and they might do it. It's a possibility.
Only if she's legally obligated to. I don't see her lawyers are the best lawyers in this whole game, without a doubt. My lawyer said it. I've had other lawyers tell me Taylor Swift's lawyers do not F around. They are so good at this. So I don't see her doing anything unless she's legally required. Because even her like, oh, we're gonna do it if you ask, but it makes her look like she's not being difficult, and it's brilliant. So I don't fault her. I don't even know if she needs to do it to be fair, but that's a great idea. That I hope that proves true. But go ahead.
I didn't say it was likely. I just said it was possible. Those are two different scenarios.
It'd be possible if Taylor actually wants, because there is a part of me like, does she actually kind of want to throw some shade legally and make it clear and clear up the record? I hope so, because she should do the right thing. The whole connection to Sabrina Carpenter, who still follows Justin, who's clearly way closer now to Taylor. You'd think she would have gotten some insight from her, right? So I'm sure she knows more than she's leading on. Travis Kelce unfollowing Ryan Reynolds. There's clearly
a lot because as we've learned the dates, the drama began in 2023, and Taylor and Blake did not really cool off until at least October of 2024.
Right. Oh, the drama definitely cooled them off. That's why I'm hoping she will, because she can't do it publicly unless she's legally forced to. And so that might be a good way to promote the album, Taylor. I'm just saying. Some good last Diary of a Showgirl. Well, amazing. I'm so happy for you, and hopefully, and thanks for all the work you did, because I do think it's going to help us, mine particularly. Go support Perez. Make sure you've joined, subscribe, and all that jazz. Go ahead. Final thoughts.
I still want to know, why did she never subpoena Billy Bush?
Great question.
I want to know.
Great question.
Why did she never subpoena? Because there was no subpoena issued. If it would have been, we would have been able to find it. It wasn't.
It was odd to me because Brian showed up there as well. He's anybody who sort of seemingly had a connection to Brian is who they focused on, and they ignored him, weirdly enough. And kind of Megan, they did it through a third party. I still am confused by all that. And then I hear Candace has just been given sort of, just wait, you don't need to give us anything, which is also kind of odd. You and I are definitely the ones.
They should have done with us also.
Correct. No, but you and I, they're like, we're not giving you anything. Screw you two. I think she doesn't like us, Perez.
Yes, that's why I said retaliation several times in this chat.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. Kudos, fist bump. Keep up the good work. We will keep truth to power, all this stuff without letting Blake and Ryan get away with it. Make sure you subscribe to Perez. Subscribe here as well. I'll try to bring him back if he's available. Hit the bell when I have my information. I can talk more freely. But yes, well said, sir. Congrats him in the comments. Go follow him there. Thank you guys so much for watching. We got a lot more coming your way here on Popcorn Planet.